Hello there. I must confess, I'm very fascinated by pirates. Shout out to you One Piece fans out there, I see you. So much so, in fact, that I would like to dedicate the first two-part episode to one of the most infamous pirates to ever sail the seas. I'm of course talking about none other than Hayreddin Barbarossa. To the fans of Jack Sparrow, let me tell you right away, yes, he is the namesake of Captain Barbossa. Unlike him, he was not British but rather born on the Isle of Lesbos in the 1470s to a Turkish father and a Greek mother. And to be fair, his birth name was neither Hayreddin nor Barbarossa, as both of those he earned later. Kizir as he was called then, and his three brothers all became sailors, most likely because their father became a trader after his service as a Spahi had ended. Oh well, might as well explain that quickly. Spahi were cavalrymen that were a core part of Turkish armies since the Seljuk Empire days. During this time, the brothers made enough money to get their own ship. However, the Mediterranean at the time was a hotbed for piracy. Much of what is today the Maghreb, that means North Africa roughly from Morocco to modern-day Libya, was fractured and economically unstable. Hence turning to piracy was a very common way to escape financial uncertainty. European naval powers like Genoa, France and later the Spanish tried to destroy the pirate strongholds of what they called the Barbary Coast. Little side note here, the name Barbary Coast refers to the Berber people, but the pirates were ethnically very diverse, also including Arabs and various Europeans. So in this climate, it was often just a question of time before independent sailors would turn to piracy themselves. Perhaps it was after their ship was themselves subject to a pirate attack, or because business wasn't going well. All we know for sure is that Oroch, Kizir's older brother, was the first to turn to piracy. The three then split up. Oroch and the younger Ilyas roamed the seas between Egypt and Anatolia, while Kizir preyed in the shallower waters of the Aegean Sea. The oldest brother, Ishak, remained on land to take over the family business. The main target of the brothers were ships of the Knights Hospitaller. The Knights had long abandoned their main function of providing medical aid and protection to pilgrims that wanted to go to the Holy Land. Instead, they became rather rich as traders from their base on Rhodes, and their main opponent were those pesky pirates attacking their ships. Oroch and Ilyas would soon learn that firsthand, as they were attacked by the Knights. Ilyas was killed, while Oroch ended up being a galley slave for the next 4 years. Is this a good point to mention that slavery, even of non-Christians, was actually illegal by Christian law? Just saying. In the meantime, however, the Knights of Rhodes made themselves bigger enemies than mere pirates. The Ottoman Empire itself turned its gaze towards the island off their coast, yet not under their control. So far, they had been a land-based empire with an impressive army. Their naval forces were still somewhat lacking. However, experienced sailors with a chip on their shoulder regarding the Hospitallers were easy to find. So the Ottoman Prince Korkut recruited Oroch and Kizir to fight them. They were given 24 galleys and enough sailors to crew them. He then sent them off to missions to attack the Knights and the Italian city-states. Privateering under Ottoman protection was a good life, but it came to a grinding halt when Korkut's brother Selim I took the throne. You see, the Ottomans had a rather peculiar tradition to make sure they would not be plagued by the same dynastic problems their old rivals, the Byzantines, frequently encountered. To ensure that there was only one heir to the throne, brothers would be strangled to death or executed in some other manner. Korkut saw it coming and fled to Egypt. Being so strongly associated with a rival to the throne, the brothers also decided to get out of Dodge and instead came into service of the Mamluk Sultan of Egypt. Joined by their older brother Ishak, the three then famously ferried persecuted Muslims out of Spain, which at the time was going through the Inquisition. For this act, Oroch gained the honorific Baba, which means father. The Italians misheard Baba Oroch as Barbarossa, which means Redbeard. From that point on, they mostly fought the Spanish, who had spread into modern-day Algeria, taking many coastal cities. During the battle to liberate one such city, Oroch lost his arm. It was later replaced with a silver prosthesis, earning him the nickname Silver Arm. In one particular successful journey, the brothers captured a Genoese galliot in Taberca off the coast of Spain, then added 4 more Genoese galleys to their loot bag in Liguria. The Genoese were obviously very unhappy with this and sent their flagship to deal with the Corsairs, only for the brothers to capture that one as well. In under a month, they had expanded their fleet by 23 ships. In 1515, the brothers managed to gain the favor of Sultan Selim by sending him precious gifts afforded by their successful raiding. With his backing, they managed to capture the city of Algiers a year later, expelling the Spanish and crowning Orange the new Sultan of Algiers. However, the Spanish would not let go easily of this port. To make sure Sultan Selim would keep supporting them, Orange relinquished the title, joining Algiers with the Ottoman Empire and becoming a governor for them instead. As such, it was still his privilege to expand the territory of his overlord, and there were yet more Spanish ports to conquer. In 1518, Orange had learned that the Muslim ruler of Tlemcen was forced by the Spanish to attack Algiers and decided offense is the best defense. With his brother Ishak, he stormed the city and executed its ruler, declaring himself the new lord of the city. But the defenders managed to get the word out to the Spanish. Soon after, the city was besieged by about 10,000 Spanish soldiers. Its defenders, vastly outnumbered, still held onto Tlemcen for 20 days before succumbing. Both Orange and Ishak died while defending the freshly conquered city, leaving Kizir behind as the last remaining brother. After learning of this, Kizir swore allegiance to Selim and was bestowed not just his older brother's position, but even his name. Too feared was the name Barbarossa by the Christians to let it fade into obscurity. He then also adopted the name Hayreddin, which means best of faith. With fresh soldiers sent by Selim, Barbarossa avenged his brothers and once again expelled the Spanish from Tlemcen. For the next decades, he became an absolute terror of the Christian powers. Not even Spain and Genoa together could defeat him and his ever-growing corsair fleets. Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, who was also the King of Spain in personal union, even appointed an admiral, Andrea Doria, specifically to fight Barbarossa. Doria is considered a naval legend in his own right, and often credited with being one of the inventors of amphibious warfare. A clash between these titans of the sea was now imminent. And how that turned out, we will explore on the next episode of Curihistory. Heck yeah, I always wanted to do a two-parter. Be glad it's not a season final. With that, I say once again thank you to my artist and to you viewers. Hope to see you around next time for the conclusion. Bye! What are a pirate's favorite letters, you ask? It's of course R and the C.